This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, we've packed a number of shows together to give you some highlights. I know you're going to enjoy the show. Thank you for being with us today. So sourcing those deals, obviously you had relationships with these brokers, right? But you said your own market, what would you say? The properties that you see that are own market that you're purchasing is like zero.
Yeah, our hit rate on marketed deals is very near zero. There's a lot of competition out there for acquiring multifamily assets, as you well know, and everybody that's listening to this show, I'm sure, knows that it's a competitive landscape out there. And really, the one thing that gives any buyer a leg up in sourcing deals is a track record with the broker. And fortunately, we had track records with both of these brokers. They both knew us. We closed with one of them before. With another one we hadn't closed with yet, but of course they knew that we owned over 1,000 units in the market, and and that sort of stuff. So that went a long way. But normally, most of the stuff we buy is off market, but every once in a while we get lucky on a marketed deal. And it's not for lack of trying. I mean, we're underwriting every marketed deal in the markets that we're active in. It's just we don't usually get them.
Okay. So, I've heard different people talk about, an off-market deal and what's a real off-market deal. And could you elaborate, just like, broker sends a deal, he says it's off-market, but is it really off-market? Could you just tell us, walk through that a little bit?
Yeah, I define off-market deals in residing in one of three different buckets. There's the off-market deal, which is one where someone wants to sell and they call every broker they know, telling them they want to sell and asking for their opinion of the property's value. All the brokers render those opinions and then immediately call every buyer on their list, trying to round up a buyer so that they can get a leg up on getting the listing by telling the seller, I've got 2 buyers that really want it, so give me the listing or I'll get you the offer beforehand. Or they're trying to get in before the other broker gets the listing, right? So that's off-market deal number one. There's not much difference between that and a marketed deal because everybody knows about it. There's probably been 30 people on that deal, just as if they would have put it on the market. So that's category number one. Category number 2 off-market deal is the one where you've got the seller that just is completely overpriced. Every broker is way too embarrassed to take it out to market at the seller's price because they know nobody's going to want to buy it at that price. So they call up their most inexperienced buyers, the ones that have been hounding them and annoying them the most to buy something that no one will sell to. And they'll see if one of those will bite at this quote unquote, off-market great deal. And basically they're just looking for a sucker. That's off-market deal bucket number 2. And in my opinion, it's probably the most common quote unquote off-market deal. And it's certainly the most common one that you'll hear about from anyone that hasn't done a lot of volume. And then the third bucket of off-market deal is the one where the seller says to a broker, hey, you sold me this deal. I want you to sell it for me. I really don't want to spook my employees and have this thing sitting on the market, having 20 tours. Just get me an offer from your top buyer. And that broker will call 1, 2, or 3 of their most reliable buyers and offer them the chance to buy it without it going on the market. Those are the kind of off-market deals we're looking for.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Yeah, we don't want to be in those first 2 categories, especially the second one, right? As a buyer.
Right.
No doubt about it. But as far as, these deals that, the seller, you said the seller, he bought this deal from this broker, and so he's going to use him again, and he wants him to sell it. Doesn't want to spook the employees, so it's just, see if you can sell it for me or see what interest you can get. How are you, how does that start? Obviously you're starting that relationship, right? And could you walk us through that a little bit and how that has happened for you, or maybe even how that's changed over your career?
So are you asking how does that broker get that phone call, or how do you as a buyer get that phone call from the broker?
That's right. You as the buyer. Yeah, you as
Yeah,
the buyer getting that phone call from the broker. What gets you to that point?
closing deals. That's the only thing that gets you there. That broker is not going to call you. And I repeat, that broker is not going to call you with that category 3 off market deal unless they've sold you something before. Because what this seller is asking the broker to do, think about this for a minute from the other side of the table. What that seller is asking the broker to do is bring me an offer from a reliable buyer, someone that you can vouch for, that's going to get this deal done and is going to close and not give me a lot of hassle. Well, the only way that broker is going to put that relationship with that buyer or that seller at risk on their word of who a good buyer is for that deal is if they know that buyer really well and have closed deals with them before, and they know how they act in a transaction. They know their closers. They know they don't screw around. They know they don't retrade and nitpick over stupid little repair items. If you've been able to close with a broker and show them all those things, you can make it to that list. Another piece of it is, what do you own in the market? If it's your first or second deal in the market and they have a client that owns 2,000 units in the market, it's more likely they're going to call the guy with 2,000 units than the guy that has, one property or perhaps no properties. So everybody always asks, how do you get deals? You get deals by closing deals. And now you have this ridiculous chicken and the egg scenario about how do you get deals to close deals, or how do you close
You know where
deals
I'm going.
deals if you don't have deals? I know